I feel like there's been a reminder when it comes to Zebec as of late. And what do I mean by this? Even though I'll talk about the price later on in the video, even though nothing I say is financial advice, again, what do I mean by this? It is how not too long ago World Mobile was kind of making a post and they're kind of reminding how basically they're going to be working together with Zebec. And some people may be thinking, like, who cares about this? Like, it's nothing important. But I think this kind of highlights that sometimes collaborations like this is kind of often overshadowed, especially when the price of ZBCN really isn't doing anything that exciting, which it clearly isn't as of late. So I still think seeing stuff like this sometimes just reminds me that, you know what? Zebec seems to be kind of heading, I would say, arguably in a pretty interesting direction, fundamentally speaking, because let's just, again, take a look at what World Mobile means by this, right? Because, for instance, World Mobile, again, just not too long ago, made a post how they and Zebec are building ZebecNet. Now, what is that, right? ZebecNet is supposedly a decentralized mobile network powered by World Mobile, and it's designed for the Zebec ecosystem. And something that really, I think, I found interesting when it comes to this is an aspect of seamless payroll and payments. And yeah, that's pretty interesting because if we take a look at it, Zebec has a very heavy emphasis, right, towards payrolls, towards payments. So I think this really kind of plays into the narrative of it. Now, when it comes to World Mobile, what is it more specifically? Even though I already talked about it in one of my videos quite a while back ago, but still just to kind of refresh a little bit, right? It is supposedly the first global decentralized mobile network. So yeah, I mean, for what it is, I think, I find it pretty interesting. It's not necessarily the most popular thing out there, but neither is Zebec, so I still think it's a pretty okay collaboration. At the end of the day, is this going to make, Zebec top 5 in terms of popularity, top 10, top 20? I just don't think so. At least in the next 6 months to a year, I just don't think it will. It's just my personal perspective, right? Even though I like Zebec, I just have to say it, how I kind of feel about it. However, I still think it's pretty impressive nonetheless that Zebec is still doing stuff like this. I mean, let's face it, if Zebec didn't do this, is there anyone out there kind of demanding, oh, we want to see this or do that? If there is, I just don't see it, right? I haven't seen it actually. And personally for me, I wouldn't even have thought about this. But then the fact that Zebec is trying to do this, it's kind of like showing effort the way you take a look at it, kind of really taking things to a different level in terms of, again, the effort. Because, again, no one really asked for this, at least that I've heard of. But even besides that, when I take a look at something like ZBCN, people like to say, okay, when it comes to 10 cents, it's around a 27x from here. Again, nothing really exciting is happening. Totally aware of that. But still, at a time like this, I sometimes often remind myself with what Zebec is trying to do fundamentally. And again, what they're doing with World Mobile, even World Mobile kind of reminded in a sense, right? Because they made a post about this very recently. So yeah, when I take a look at something like this, I just think it's sometimes kind of important personally for me to remind myself that when it comes to this project, there are sometimes things beyond just the price chart that I can take a look at. For instance, what they're trying to do, fundamentally, what they're still focused on, and also just what we expect maybe coming soon when it comes to Zebec. Because again, ZebecNet I think could maybe be something quite interesting when it comes to Zebec, but only time will tell. Now, when I take a look at it as well, people like to say, okay, but when it comes to, let's say again, 10 cents, it's still around 27x from here. Again, things may look kind of boring as of right now, but we might, see a different scenario moving forward. Who knows? Like, things could maybe be different months later. I'm not saying it will, but who knows, right? Because when I was first holding ZBCN, it wasn't really doing anything, actually. I remember when I was first holding ZBCN, there was like this very kind of small pump that I had seen, right? I was like, oh wow, it's pretty interesting. Then suddenly there was a pullback. Then it kind of did nothing, that significant. And then suddenly, whoa, it just did something, right? At one point, 10 cents was around an 11x from where it was. Now, of course, it's now around a 27x, but I think that if anything showcases that, first of all, I will not be able to know when things happen like that. Like, there's no way for me to know the exact moment in time. I was just dollar cost averaging, and that happened. I was just holding and waiting, and indirectly, I was kind of like even preparing, I would say, because it just kind of made me go along with the ride. Granted, there's a pullback, but still, it's way better than before. And that was not even during an altcoin season in my perspective. I mean, if I take a look at not too long ago, right before, of course, altcoins had a pretty big pullback, what was a pretty big narrative that I saw? Or should I say pretty big narratives, right? Plural. I think it was AI. I think also it was something like RWAs, or should I say real world assets. And then also on top of that, it's like payments, global trade and finance. And also not too long ago as well, I think Solana was also a better narrative than right now. What is kind of common with those five aspects? I think it's something like Zebec. Now let me explain why. Because again, when it comes to AI-based pay fight, that's what Zebec's focused on, one of it. Or should I say one of the focuses. We take a look at something like RWAs, real world assets. We take a look at what Ondo was able to do not too long ago. And again, Zebec has an aspect of RWAs. Now we take a look at payments, global trade and finance, but again, that's already kind of, known, right, when it comes to Zebec that it's focused on that. And also on top of that, Solana, or should I say the Solana aspect. Because not too long ago, ZBCN was top 10 in terms of utility when it comes to Solana. So kind of five big narratives that I just saw not too long ago, which wasn't even during an altcoin season, but was still kind of popular nonetheless. Zebec has those key aspects when it comes to its focus. It doesn't mean it's going to go along with the ride again, especially if there's an altcoin season, who knows. However, again, those narratives that seem to be pretty popular, I do see that when it comes to Zebec. So if let's say there's an altcoin season, if Zebec kind of went along with the ride, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me just because I like the aspects of what it's focused on. If Zebec was such a bad project, I don't know why something like Circle, which is the creator of USDC, the stablecoin, would be a backer, and as well as something like Solana Ventures. The way I take a look at it is, when something that massive is making a decision, I'm pretty sure there's a team. I'm pretty sure there's a discussion. I'm pretty sure there's planning, a lot of research involved. It's not just like, let's say, one person just kind of no team, not doing anything, just randomly, oh yeah, let's just take a look at this. I'll believe in it if I like it. It's a little bit of a different case. Personally, for me, when I believe in a project, there's no team. It's just personally what I find interesting, and that's pretty much about it. However, I'm assuming something like Circle, the creator of USDC, the stablecoin, or something like Solana Ventures, they're not just doing things solo, I feel like, right? Sometimes they're just not doing it the way I do it in terms of just, me taking a look at a project myself. There's a team and stuff like that. So if they can become a backer when it comes to Zebec, I think it may indicate something. And to my knowledge, at least from a post from not too long ago, but still from quite a decent time ago, I still saw that Zebec made a post on X saying how Circle holds a significant amount of ZBCN. It is what it is. I mean, what are they going to do with that holding? I have no idea. Like, personally for me, if they were to sell, I don't know why they would sell a big amount. I mean, Circle is so massive, but again, that's beyond me. I can't control them. I have no idea what they're doing. But at the same time, I find that pretty impressive. Circle holding a big amount of ZBCN, I think indirectly kind of might give the project a lot more stability in terms of the price. Because maybe if Circle didn't hold such a big amount of ZBCN, could the price of ZBCN be lower than right now? Who knows? So this is why I kind of like that aspect. But ultimately, all I can do is stay patient, just hold and wait, and that's pretty much about it. I'm still thinking about 10 cents, but yeah, all I can do is really just stay patient. But again, this reminder that I saw when it comes to World Mobile regarding Zebec, it's something to at least keep me positive during a time where, let's face it, the price just isn't kind of that exciting. It's kind of boring. But still, that reminder just keeps me a little bit excited. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. I hope you all have a nice day. I want to say thank you for watching. It's Billy the Captain, and I'll catch you all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.